War Eagle, War Report family, I'm your host, C-Dub, and the coaches and players have talked about it. They even printed it on a t-shirt or two, even made a social media post about it. Now it's official. Auburn is 1-0 going into week 2, and all of the fellas are here to discuss it. We'll first start with the ACE or the University ACE hardware tools of the game. Then we'll give out grades in all three aspects of the game based on the game yesterday. And then we will discuss the college football landscape based on yesterday's game. So you don't want to miss that. But for now, sit back, get your weight up because your weekend tailgate starts right now.
You are now listening to a War Report Weekend Tailgate brought to you by University Ace Hardware. It's your boy, I Jones. Be Will. C-Dog. Mike G. Get ready. Sit on back as we bring you the War Report Weekend Tailgate.
Hey, War Eagle, happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome again to the Weekend Tailgate.
Yes, sir.
Brought to you by our friends, our buddies, our pals at University Ace Hardware. For your hardware needs, just remember Ace is the place for you. You need to go to 2101 East University Drive, Auburn, Alabama, of course. They're located across from the Auburn Mall, right next door to the AMC movie theater. Drop in and let them know that your friends at the War Report sent you there. Now, we want to shout out our War Report community. Guys, we want to thank y'all for spending your lovely Sunday with us, talking Auburn football, relishing this win that we had yesterday. Help us grow this community, guys. How you can do that? Oh, by sharing the video on your social media. Be sure to use hashtag Get Your Weight Up. You know people are hungry, looking for content, want to find out more about the Auburn win, get some analysis, be the source for them. Share that video, help them out, help us out, help us continue to grow. Also, if you are here, you've been watching, and you want to get in on some of these membership perks, get access to some fire content, Mike G has some information he would like to share with you. Take it away, Mike G.
So become an insider. You guys already know the drill. This is a lot of you have signed up over the last couple days. If you were part of our game day experience, you understand that you had to be a member to comment and join the conversation. So tomorrow's Watch the Film segment will be just that, which we'll be bringing to you tomorrow. We're going to break down the film from Saturday. Myself, Isaac, all of you. It's going to be a great time. So you definitely don't want to miss that. Become an insider so that you can be a part of that. Also, as an insider, we're giving away tickets to the Georgia State game. We're not giving away tickets to the Penn State game, but we're back home in a couple weeks, and we want you guys to go see this game on the War Report. Become an insider. You get 3 entries into the raffle just for being a member. So 2 entries if you're a supporter. We definitely want you guys to get in on that. Today, we're raffling off a t-shirt, guys. You know the drill. Get your weight up in the comments. Hashtag get your weight up. Check your spelling. Make sure it's right so you can get that entered. Isaac is going to pull this up at the 1 hour mark, and we're going to give away a Watch the Film t-shirt in celebration of our first Watch the Film segment that is happening tomorrow. So we want you guys to do that. Last but certainly not least, we are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. We're helping them raise money to save puppies. We believe that puppies make the world a better place. A lot of you have puppies. I have a puppy. Ike has a puppy. Puppies make the world go around. Please donate. 50 cents on every dollar goes to help the Humane Society in their mission to save animals and bring joy to people's lives. We appreciate everybody who donates.
Thank you. Thank you for that, sir. We got a comment here. Jeremy Redding, thanks again at the War Report. Walker, my son and I really enjoyed the game, and the seats were great. Yes, they were, because I came to see it for myself and to see you, man. So I'm glad you enjoyed the game. It was great talking to you. And y'all, listen, gone are the days where the four of us can go to an Auburn game and no one sees us or cares. Okay. That's over with. All right. So I met some amazing people. I know he probably is not expecting it, but shout out to you, Tyler. I met you. Guy got stuck at Tiger Walk. You introduced yourself. We talked for a quick second. Thanks for supporting the War Report. Met a few other amazing people as well. So had a good time. Guys, let's get into it today. Let's go ahead and start before we go any further. You guys have voted for the player of the game. And without question, Nix coming through to just light it up. 20 for 22, 275 yards, 3 TDs. He is the War Report's player of the game and well deserved. Congratulations to Bo Nix on that. Any thoughts on this, guys?
Yeah, listen, congratulations to Bo. Yeah, I think this was a fantastic debut to the season. He went out there, he looked poised, he was accurate for the most part. He went through his reads. He looked like a different quarterback.
For sure.
And I think the coaching made all the difference. There were some questions in the offseason about whether he was coachable or not. I think that for right now, those questions should be put to bed. We'll see how it works on the road in a hostile environment, but I think this is a really good start, a good foundation to build on.
Hold on, Corey Weber, man. Come on, dude. Come on, man. Come on, man. Those of you who
feels like I didn't win the world all
Corey
over
Weber,
again.
she said he tried to meet C-Dub and got brushed off. It hurt.
You know what it felt like? You know what it felt like? You ever seen those movies where there's a sniper and that person just has no freaking clue that they've been spotted? That's how I felt, because Corey DM'd me, was like, I see you. And I'm like, dude, where? So we never could meet up with each other. And once I got in, I was actually meeting up with Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer. Y'all go check his stuff out. He's awesome. I had to meet up with him. So once I met up with him and got inside, of course, I couldn't get back out to meet up with Corey. But next time, man, I definitely got to meet up with you. But let's get into what we came to talk about. We got some analysis for the game, of course. So let's talk about some tools, shall we?
The University Ace Hardware. Tools to the game.
Tools to the game. I will go first, guys. The biggest tool that I think has played a big part in how we looked was preparation. Harsin talked in his presser last week about practice. And I said this in jest and joking on Zach Blackerby's podcast. Anytime you mention a good week of practice, because of my PTSD for the past 8 years, I cringe. But Brian Harsin spoke about the importance before even talking about the game. He talked about the approach these guys were going to take to prepare themselves for Saturday. And Auburn looked like a prepared team. In fact, Auburn looked like they had been playing several games in that game. And so we looked like we were in midseason form. And I think that speaks to not only the coaching staff putting together a plan for Akron and for these guys, but the players also understanding the plan and going out and executing the plan at a very high level, regardless of the opponent. I don't care if it was Akron. I don't care if it was Bama. Those guys are responsible for going out and doing what the coaching staff is asking them to do. So for me, preparation was evident, and Auburn looked crisp and sharp. They didn't look like a team that was working out some kinks. So I think that was really key. That was an important tool, in my opinion, for Auburn getting the win. What about you, B? What are your thoughts on that?
My biggest key was I could piggyback off of you and say preparation, because obviously preparation is the biggest thing to the difference in play between what we saw yesterday and what we saw last season. But accuracy like I have never seen before from Bo Nix. Feet being planted a number of times in a row like I have never seen before from him. A lot of the guys were wide open, and I don't take that as that's not a way to say, oh, Bo wasn't that good. No. Listen, if your guy's wide open, you still got to hit him. He's missed wide open throws in the past. He did not miss them last night. He put the ball in spots it was supposed to be. It wasn't people weren't having to make daredevil catches. Maybe one or two he was off by a little bit, but listen, that's 20 of 22, 90%. We were sitting here hoping he got over 60, 90%. And for anybody wanting to say, oh, that was just Akron, we have played bad teams every year that Auburn football has existed, and that was the highest completion percentage from a quarterback
ever in history.
Ever.
Yeah.
We have had 3 guaranteed wins playing either FCS or Division II at the time, because that's what it was, or lower conference teams every year. And that was the most accurate performance from a quarterback ever. It's different. The game plan was different, but Bo Nix looked different. That was the key. That was my key to the season, accuracy. We got a great start. I loved it.
Ike, what was your University Ace hardware tool to the game, bro?
I'm gonna have to go. It's in the lane of preparation, but just the execution. When we talked about things that I wanted to see from this game in particular, and whether or not the team was actually going to come into the game and do what they needed to do, is about the way that we executed. Right, like the one false start was bad, but like I was saying, a team that's going to come in and look prepared, you're not going to see a bunch of delay of game penalties. Right, not a single time did we come out not know where we were supposed to be lined up, get into it, and get out there and execute the play. You didn't see a lot of holding calls. You didn't see a lot of people out of alignment on their blocking assignments on pass protection. You saw a team that
no procedures.
Like, I know, right. We had one penalty on offense that was a false start. I don't think it's one, but still, as far as first team offense,
it was one, I think.
But that's it. It was just the one time.
Yeah.
And so like I'm just saying, they came in and looked like, hey, this is what we're supposed to do. Let's line up and get it done. Bo Nix was in command of that offense. He knew where guys were supposed to be lined up. He's not accustomed to being in the huddle. He's out there calling the plays accurately, getting people. Listen, man, you can say what you want to about Akron and the number of points we had and all that kind of stuff. Those types of things translate.
Yeah. Getting
lined up when you're supposed to, understanding where you're supposed to be assigned and all those things, pre-snap, post-snap, understanding where you need to be, seeing stuff that stuff translates. If you can get that stuff right the first 2 games, then you can take that on the road, and because you have a good run game, you got a good defense, and you can quiet that home field crowd that you're going into. So very excited to see that tool of the game, execution.
Let's talk about them check downs though. Did y'all see that beautiful check down to Tank? I almost got a little emotional when I saw that, because that didn't happen. That didn't happen. He'd either take off running or he would force it. So for him to check down, we're seeing a change. We're seeing a change in Bo, and it's for the better. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. Mike G, talk to me, man. What's your University Ace hardware tool to the game, man?
Well, my University Ace hardware tool to the game, I walked into 2101 East University Drive, asked the clerk, where can I find a shutout? They pointed me to aisle 6, and I got a shutout for the first team defense.
It was off. You got
it was half off. Yeah, it was a clear
print. It was a super fine print. It was a size 4 font.
All right. So full game shutouts were sold out. Our guy David said, "Hey man, we got some third quarter shutouts here." I said, "I'll take it, 25% off." Listen, this defense did exactly what I expected them to do. I don't think it was never in doubt for me. I've said it over and over again that I thought that this has the opportunity to be an all-time great defense. I think that they went out there and did what you do to bad opponents. They shut them down. They took their will and they just crushed it. Those guys from Akron looked defeated, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
They looked like, what the hell did we get into? I hope we got paid a lot for this. And that's what you need to do.
Right.
That's what you need to do when you play a team like Akron. And I think that a lot of people, people all day on Twitter were like, calm down, it's just Akron. I'm like, no, the hell with that. Because for 8 years, I've watched us play down to this sort of competition where we still looked like crap for 2 quarters. And then finally we get it together in the middle of the third quarter and we pull away. And the end score looks great. But the journey there was rough.
Yeah.
And it was a signal that when we play better competition, we might not be as good as we want to be. We left this game. We still may not be as good as we think we are, right? But we are definitely going to be at a level where we can compete. I don't care who you are. Going in, any first team, shutting a team down for 2.5 quarters is hard to do no matter who you play. This is still college football. And what they did was really impressive. We generated a pass rush. That's exciting. Now, we may not get 6 sacks against every team, but the guys looked like they were getting off blocks and getting to the quarterback. We defended a mobile quarterback well.
Right.
Yeah.
Under the previous staff, even on bad teams, mobile quarterbacks have given us problems.
Yeah, man.
Fits.
Yesterday, they went down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at first, I thought we looked a little soft in the middle of the defensive line, but we adjusted and then just gave up nothing after that. We tackled well. Notice guys swarming to the football. Gang tackles happening everywhere. First guy hits, 3 guys there to help clean it up. Mm-hmm. That was team defense being played yesterday. I said it on our post game yesterday. Our DBs looked like bored outfielders on a baseball field. And I already think that they're good. So this is going to be something that going into Penn State, I still think there are things on tape that they can learn from. There's plenty on tape they can learn from, honestly. There's things that they can clean up. But I think yesterday's result was a direct correlation to the attention to detail that Brian and the discipline that Brian Harsin has installed in this program. Mm-hmm. Now, I had a guy on Twitter that was just he was calling Cap because I was trying to tell people about how before, you guys remember the report about guys showing up late to practice. Mm-hmm. Harsin talked about it. He did an interview in The Athletic, and he talked about how guys, some days guys just don't show up. Asked for clarification later, he said, he clarified that it was practice. Some guys just weren't showing up to practice. Getting out of workouts was something of an easy thing before. Yeah. And this team just looked disciplined. So to Caesar's point about, being prepared, that's what I thought the result of that was. We looked prepared for the game. Guys looked focused. I didn't see a lot of showboating on the field. I didn't see a lot of celebrating on and flexing on Akron, which is a little bit of a change. They celebrated their touchdown and they got to the sidelines. Yeah. You haven't accomplished anything yet. Yeah,
handle business and keep it moving.
Keep it moving, man. Sure. I just really thought it was a solid all-around defensive performance. And for an offense that needed to find its rhythm, it was important that they got the ball back to them as much as possible.
Yeah. That's one thing I talked about last night that I really liked is the Mike Bobo and Brian Harsin clearly went in and said to themselves, all right, the same mindset they were bringing to the scrimmages. We're going to test our team in these ways, right? So they're going to put the defense on them and make them adjust in certain scenarios. In this game, they said, all right, great. Let's do some stuff to test the team. We know we can run the ball. Now let's go out here and figure out how we're going to run some of this pass concepts that we've had and get our timing against somebody who doesn't know us all that well. All right, we did that. End of the half, call a timeout, trust your defense to get the ball back to you, and then we're going to go run our 2-minute offense. They did all the things necessary to say, these are scenarios we want to put our team in. Now let's go practice it against somebody else. They treated it like a scrimmage and saw the team execute the way that they wanted to. So, listen, you can say what you want to about whatever. Brian Harsin and Mike Bobo had those guys ready to play football yesterday, and they went out there and did it.
Indeed. Two chats I want to make mention of. Dr. Doom, we're officially past the Gus Bus stigma. The offensive game plan was truly multiple for once in a long man. Wow, War Eagle, future is bright for Jarquez. Listen, let's talk about Jarquez. We'll let's put a pin there. I want to read this one to Terrence. Appreciate you, man. Finally, we look prepared and physical. War Eagle, back to you, sir. Talk about Jarquez.
Yeah.
He is the child that was promised. We are getting everything that was advertised with this dude, man. I mean, we talked about it. C always talked about the PTSD from hearing about a great week of practice before and it meaning nothing, or a spring game where he go, oh well, he's gonna be ready to play early, and then it means nothing because we don't see the guy all year. A guy came in spring. No, did Jarquez come in spring or the fall? He came in the fall.
Fall, yeah, he wasn't there for the spring.
He's been there about 6 weeks, and we heard the reports of the power he had on display, what he was looking like in the weight room, him flashing at practice, missed the scrimmages for whatever reason. The coaches, everybody that we heard was making a difference in camp, we saw them on the field. If they got mentioned by the coaches or by their peers, by the other players, we saw them play well.
Yeah.
I'm so encouraged by it. Seems like we have a very structured and sincere program in place. And that's nothing that I couldn't say that before. And so for Jarquez, it's like, okay, I'm hearing so much about the guy in practice. I want to see. That's right. It. I just want to see. It's not that everything that the last staff could have been thinking about these players was wrong. Maybe they had a reason to keep them off if we didn't see them. But hey, you know what? I'm a fan. We've been following these guys since we started recruiting them. Can I see, please? And we got to see. And what do you know? The guy looks freaking outstanding. Speed and power.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man.
He runs like a grown man. He runs like a grown man.
Oh my God.
I would not. There's not a running back on this team that I would envy a defensive back for having to tackle. Because Tank is not. Man, I talked about this in the post game. It felt silly watching Tank stiff arm and step over people while being while dragging two defenders,
taking dudes with him. Yeah,
he's holding the ball with one hand, pushing the guy off with the other while somebody's draped on him. He pushes that guy to the ground, then steps. Like, that's just silly, man. Like, don't embarrass them, boy. Tank, they have families they have to go home to, sir. Don't do that to people.
They have a future. Don't take it away from them. And Shivers
running over a dude on the way to the goal line.
Shivers runs like, I mean, yeah.
Jarquez Hunter when he got into the open field, it was Sean Jackson when he got into it was just like
moving the pile.
Just stop embarrassing these young men. They've had enough. Throw in the towel.
Thomas Sanders, appreciate you, man. Competence, discipline, and effort. Looking forward to Penn State. I'm just looking forward to State, man. Alabama State. Like I like the approach in post game.
We have a Tank and a Humvee. I like that. I like
hilarious. In the post game, one of the defensive guys, Moultrie, was talking about, man, listen, we excited about it, but tomorrow we it's time for us to get back to work. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how these kids are talking. So they're taking on the attitude of Harsin. So I'm looking forward to Penn State as well, but this team isn't.
Yeah. Alabama
they really have embodied this 1-0 mentality to where they're not even thinking about the game. They're thinking about today. They're thinking about what they're doing in the meetings that they're in. Like, that's the type, like, that focus is why we saw what we saw yesterday. Like, Harsin and those guys aren't teaching them to look ahead. They are focused on what's in front of them and winning that. And I think that's the recipe. Mason Clinton, appreciate you, man. Kobe Wooden pointed to the board when Akron back up. QB jawed at him. Action over words. Love watching you guys. Keep up the great work, fellas. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, time out. You guys were talking about Jarquez when I had to dip out for a second. I just want one point to make about Jarquez.
Listen,
I told you guys weeks ago I thought this kid could be one of the top backs in all of Auburn history. Yesterday he went out there and physically just looked like a monster. He was a man amongst boys. Yeah. He was just, I mean, he just looked so much stronger than everybody on the field. I would not be shocked to see him finish the season as the number 2 back. Just my personal opinion. When he gets opportunities in these next 2 to 3 games versus Alabama State and Georgia State, he could give the coaches something to think about. Much respect to Sean Shivers. I know he's a senior. and it's his senior season. But let me tell you something. I'm still play the best guy. Jarquez looked ridiculous. He looked absolutely ridiculous. So I'm excited to see more of him. And I'm really excited about how much he played. We got to see a healthy dose of him yesterday. I don't know that would have happened before. And congratulations to the walk-on.
Sean Jackson.
He played well. He looked,
man.
Yeah, he looked, for the reports out of the scrimmage where he was making plays. That translated to the game. I just want to point out to everybody, when you put your first team offense versus your first team defense, you have no delusions about what you have going into the season.
Absolutely. And that's important. And I think it's one of the reasons why, when I look back on our initial thoughts about the depth chart, is because I think some of that could be a bit of PTSD, because we're used to a guy being played later in the year, or seeing a guy and asking the question, where was he all year? Right?
Yeah.
Because whoever's announced as the starter, you're not sure if they're really the guy.
Right.
But
last year.
Shedrick, I see why he earned the starting role.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Man.
I get it. Like, these coaches aren't missing on their assessment of their team.
Right.
They're putting in, and we talk about Jarquez, but look who's ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's just depth and talent. Right.
And
so
it's the place that you want to be as a program, where, again, if God forbid somebody goes down, but if they do, you've got a capable guy, or somebody graduates, you don't have to sit here. Like, we don't have to have this whole wondering about, oh my goodness, what are we going to do at running back?
Yeah.
We know what we're going to do at running back. And then we hope they just refill right behind him, and it just continues.
Next
and
man
we
up.
get back into RBU. Like, we want to be running back university again, the same way that we should have been for all of those years.
Yeah, just do that at every position.
For sure.
Right. Let's start a quarterback university and start producing some of those. Right. Because it seems like when we can find one, we're in contention for a championship. That's been true over the last 10 years. Whenever we've had a solid quarterback, Auburn has been in the conversation, because the talent around him has usually been good enough to support, us being in contention at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I think start that.
We got a comment from Jonathan Harris. I was hearing some of these Scotland reports too, so this is a very interesting comment. I didn't expect to see that kind of elusiveness out of Hunter. Thought he was more of a north and south kind of guy, but boy, was I wrong. Baby Chubb, in my opinion. Jarquez and Shivers were taking souls last night. Yeah. He's elusive. He can get outside, and he's got some speed when he gets to the edge as well. So I'm excited about our running back room for sure, man. It's definitely, for where we were months ago when it was just only 2 scholarship guys on the team. Where we are now, we're in good hands, man. And I'm very pleased with the development of that running back room. Guys, I want to get your thoughts. We can go each one if you got opinions. Let's talk about tight end usage yesterday. Okay. And I'm not sure if we had a tight end get over 10 receptions last year. Shanker is halfway there after one game. Talk about how do we feel about Shanker, and how Bobo and Harsin wants to use the tight end position under Auburn this season. Talk to me, B.
Well, this was not the child that was promised, but this was the position that was promised. After being promised plenty for the last few years, this is time. CJ Uzomah was the last tight end that got some real usage here. And here we go with Shanker. Instead of his usual, he had as many receptions last night as he had last year. And I can't tell you how refreshing it is that now everybody will have to be accounted for and defended, because it's possible.
Exactly what I was about to say. For
everybody to get the ball. Yeah. The running backs are going to get it, whether it's a handoff or a shovel or a pitch or a throw into the flat. The tight ends are a threat to get the ball. We didn't get to run the play, but on the goal line, we saw 3 tight ends on the field. Now, Shanker he's doubling as a fullback because he's had that position before. But I mean, it is number one, it's refreshing. Number two, I was hoping some other tight ends would get some receptions as well. Because they obviously wanted to get everybody some time. Everybody wanted to get some action on the field, to get some film on them, to show them some things, and to get some, improvement. They've got to be able to improve. And I think the coaches would definitely try to do that. We were worried, not explicitly, but hey, are they going to be too safe? Is it going to be too vanilla? No, it was not. It was not too vanilla. The tight ends got their usage, and I'm glad to see it. I can't wait to see more of it. I'm sure it's starting with Shanker because he's the most senior tight end, but I want those other guys to get involved. I heard too much about Landon King not to be excited about what he can possibly be going forward, but I hope to see more of those guys for sure.
I talk about the formations and the different ways that they were using the tight ends, man. What did you see yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I like, we talked about this, we were going to see 22, 21, 12 personnel. We saw it all. We saw, 3 tight ends on the field at the same time and a fullback, right? Like, so it's actually 4 of them in the game when we were running heavy. But the thing I like about it is, one thing I fundamentally believe after watching this team play, it's back to the days of you don't block, you don't play. Right. So if you're not going to be a good blocker out there at the wide receiver or the tight end position, you're not going to get the reps. So that's the reason why Shanker is in there a little bit more. That's why you're seeing Shedrick Jackson get more opportunities, because they're like, we're going to reward you for working hard, doing all of the things that make us successful, not just being a catch the ball. Like, great. I want to see us get out there and move people. And that's going to set it. I mean, that's the question that you ask. See, that's exactly what Harsin said. Is because we were able to run, it set up our ability to pass the ball. And that's clearly what the identity is going to be. We're going to move people out of the way. Mm-hmm. And then when you load the box, we don't have to change personnel. These same guys can go get us a catch. So we're just going to stick in this base, and we're going to just switch up the formation, and we're going to throw something different at you from a similar look or a similar personnel grouping. It was a really great thing to see. I'm looking forward to breaking this film down tomorrow when we get into this a little bit.
Mike G, closing thoughts on tools of the game, tight end position. What are some of your closing thoughts on this?
Tight ends, I think this is just consistent with who Brian Harsin is. I think he was true to himself the way we saw tight ends yesterday. We did a for the record on this, so if you just became a member, highly recommend you go back and watch the segment we did on tight ends. In all 6 of Brian Harsin's full seasons as Boise's head coach, he's had 2 tight ends finish with double-digit catches. So this is not a shock to us. This is very consistent with his offensive philosophy, and how that differs from what we've seen is we haven't had a single tight end with 10 catches in a season since 2014. Right, it's been like 7 or 8 years. So this was, it was good to see him use it, and to give our quarterback some easy throws. Right, some outlets, some options. Part of the problem with Bo last year was after he got out of the pocket, the play design didn't leave him any safety nets. So a lot of the hero ball that we saw was because it was either that or lose yardage. Yeah, and in some ways, I can understand why Bo might have forced a lot, because how many plays in a row can you just lose yardage? Right, before you're not doing anything. And there's no outlet. There's nobody for you to throw the ball, and all the rest of your receivers ran go routes down the field and are covered. So, the last night was very encouraging to see. I'm with B. I want to see some other tight ends get in the mix. I heard good things about all of them. So, that's where I'm at about it. It was good. I thought it was just consistent with who Harsin is.
Well, guys, we want to hear from y'all. Some of y'all have already given some of your tools to the game, things you saw that you liked. Physicality, I saw some listed below. We definitely want to hear from you guys. If you haven't given your opinions already, let us know what you saw yesterday that you thought was a key thing or key tool for Auburn's success yesterday against Akron. Guys, you are watching the Weekend Tailgate show. We will pause at this moment to recognize. Let's see. Do I see it here? Yes. Our sponsors.
The War Report's Weekend Tailgate Show is brought to you by our generous sponsors. University Ace Hardware, located at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, right across the street from the Auburn Mall and next to the movie theater. For all of your hardware needs, Ace is the place. Our betting partner, BUSR. Bet with confidence at busr.com/report. auburnsports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn sports, head over to auburnsports.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2energy.com.
Hey, listen, we are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. We tell you guys this about every week because it's important. We believe our platform has grown tremendously, and we appreciate all you guys helping us in that regard. Now we want to help someone else. We've chosen the Lee County Humane Society to partner with in that endeavor. At 50 cents on every dollar that you guys donate goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them save puppies. So we, it's September. We met our goal of $500 last month, and this month we got $500 more to go. So you can find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. Please go there and donate if you can. There's no donation too small, guys, so we really appreciate everybody who takes the time to do that. Our merch store is live. We're giving away a t-shirt today, a Watch the Film t-shirt today, but if you don't win, you can buy one. You can also find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. And again, got to remind everybody, become an insider. We're giving away tickets to the Georgia State game. If you've never been to an Auburn game, we want to send you to that game on the War Report. The seats are great. Ask Jeremy Redding. He's in the comments right now. Him and his son were our inaugural ticket winners for the Akron game. So shout out to Jeremy and the two winners for tickets to the ASU game. We only got one set to the Georgia State game, but we want you guys to become insiders so that you can win there. Last but not least, the War Report is on podcast. It's on your favorite podcast platform. So whether it's Spotify, iTunes, anything that you listen to podcasts on, we are there for you. So B is working hard right now. It's the Wednesday Night War Room that we're putting up every week for you guys. You know, the podcast apps are a little bit more car friendly. So if you're trying to listen to the War Report while you're mowing the grass or driving in your car, this is a great opportunity for you to kind of listen to us on the go. Now, as we begin to expand, we'll put more of our content on podcasts. So you can help us get our weight up by donating so that we can have more time to get you more podcast material. Anyway, B's working really hard on that. If you guys haven't heard the podcast, there's some really fun sound bites and things that he puts in there that make it a good listen. So go check out our podcast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And also, you know, hashtag get us off these jobs. So
Get us off these jobs, man.
help us out, man. Help us out. Y'all see us working. Now, here's the deal. Y'all see us working. It ain't like we scheming. No, we working hard to provide y'all some great content. So you know we good for it. So help a brother out for sure. Now, let's talk about grades in a segment we like to do the day after the War Report card.
The War Report card.
You like it. You like it.
So man, that's beautiful, man. Good job, Mike. I love that. I love that. It's so simple. It's so effective. I love that.
So what? Let's start with special teams. Let's start with special teams. Ike, what grade would you give the special teams?
I mean, so let's. I'm gonna temper this. I'm going to say B, right? Like the missed extra point was disappointing, especially considering it was literally the first one, and it was like, we scored a touchdown. Oh, we missed the extra point. Okay, I'm gonna go B. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't terrible. Kickoffs, we had 5 touchbacks, I think. Don't we have a special teams graphic for this stuff that we talking about here?
Yeah, I think so.
Where is it in here? I just want to make sure I'm not making up stuff. Specials. There we go.
You got it.
Yeah. So return yardage, didn't look super impressed by what we saw in the returns that we had. 44-yard field goal was decent. Hey, Carlson still got a leg, and the missed extra point was a little disappointing. I'm going to go B, a solid B on that. I'm not going to beat him up too bad. Nothing disastrous happened, but yeah, nothing super spectacular either. I'll go B.
All right. Well, he will.
Same. I mean, nothing. I don't want to get too down on the kid, man. We won 60-10. I mean, what the hell? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That point, it didn't decide the game. That missed extra point didn't decide the cover. It was inconsequential. Outside, I mean, you want them to make it, and that's an easy kick. But man, listen, we won this game handily, and so he's done it plenty before. We have no worries about his ability to make extra points. Solid B.
Mike G, talk to me, man.
Yeah, I have worries about it. I do. First kick of the season. It was curious to me that he missed that one. I hope it's not a trend, right? If it happens again, I'll definitely be worried. But in tight games, which we will be in some this year, I don't think that Harsin is telling them, don't worry about it. It didn't matter. It could have mattered.
For sure.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So it matters.
Right.
It matters that it matters that he missed an extra point. So the missed extra point really drags things down for me, man. We didn't really need special teams in this game. I mean, we didn't punt until like the third quarter. I thought that they fielded the ball quickly, like cleanly. I'm sorry. They fielded the ball cleanly on punts. It seemed like they made decent decisions on whether to catch or let go. I'm going to give it a B-. Would have been a B+, but like the missed extra point just was a kind of a downer to start the game, right? Like, you don't want to see, we talked about, we've been on Bo about making the easy things look easy, right? So I'm not letting the kicker off the hook for the easiest thing that he does in the game, which is kick extra points, right? Like, C for him.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people are saying this, and I have to go back and watch it. I think it might have been on the holder.
Yeah, they said it. They said it. Some people said it was on the holder. Either way, like I said, if you want to put that on the kicker or the holder or whatever, man, on the holder is even more
egregious.
Yeah, that's worse.
Yeah.
On the holder, if we're assigning the blame to him, I'm worried about that because he's got to catch him cleanly and he's got to keep the kicker's timing on. So, I mean, if Carlson missed it, okay, great. Not enamored with it, but whatever. If the holder is got jelly fingers, man, figure that out quickly.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a B for sure because of that. I mean, you can almost forgive a field goal before you can forgive a PAT. So that should be automatic. So for that to happen, yes, that can be a bit concerning. We hope it doesn't become a pattern. Moving on, let's talk defense. Let's talk about the defense statistically. What are your grades? I'm gonna start with you, Mike G. What are your grades for our defense on yesterday?
A plus, overwhelming A plus. They tackled well. We generated a pass rush on a bad team. They defended the ball well. They gang tackled. They did just about everything you could have asked them to do against, and they pitched a shutout well into the third quarter. I give them an A plus. I was a little disappointed that the second team allowed as many yards. They switched up quarterbacks on us, and the second guy seemed to give us a little bit more trouble. But at the end of the day, that first team defense, the D line is what really earned an A plus for me on defense, because to me they were always the question mark going into this game. Right, we had some guys leave, and then we converted Pegues to D line, and then Big Tony Fair's coming in, and we knew he would be good, but there's always pressure when you're transferring and you've got all these expectations on you. I thought they did. It was a great defensive performance, but it was boring, man, which is how I like it.
As it should be.
Boring. Yeah, I mean, it was great. Yeah, I mean, we didn't need them. We didn't need pick sixes from them.
Yeah,
they just got their 3 and outs, made the right plays. They adjusted well in the first quarter. Can't stress that enough, because in the middle of that D line, they were kind of gashing us just a tiny bit, and that we sewed that up so quick. Man, I'm no complaints about this defense. Again, all-time great. They're going to be all-time great.
B, what's your grade for the defense?
I'm gonna go B plus. And it's not to get down on the first team defense because the first team defense was great. Pap had an opportunity for a sack that he missed. He really should have. Was it 2? I remember seeing one. I was in and out. You got a kid, you still dead while you watching the game. So I missed a couple plays, but and that's an opportunity I wanted him to take. I mean, for his sake, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I want those stats on his rap sheet when he gets out of here so he can be a high draft pick too. But aside from that, the second string quarterback for Akron was 13 of 13. All right. Now we're talking about the second team defense here. But it wasn't just everybody empty the bench. It was still 1 or 2 guys who played in the first half as well. And, they were moving the ball. And I get it. You didn't prepare for that guy. I don't think anybody did because the guy who started the game for Akron was like one of their most decorated statistical quarterbacks ever. So I seriously doubt you would have thought the second string quarterback was going to get any burn. But they moved the ball better than I expected them to or wanted them to with him in the game. And our second team defense is full of guys who we argued before the season started could and should be starting. And they let them move the ball on us. And on top of that, we didn't get turnovers. We didn't score. Akron didn't turn the ball over, which makes our offensive performance even more special because we didn't get defensive scores. We didn't get
turnover on downs.
I mean, that's true, but that's their choice when they go for that and that risk, but we didn't take the ball away from them. And that's what makes it an A+ performance for me. Do we take the ball away? Do we take advantage of opportunities? No matter who came in the game, we held them down. That's an A+ performance. So for that reason, I got him at B+. But of course, I'm still thrilled about the performance that I saw. It was great.
Talk to me, Ike. What's your grade?
I think I'm gonna go. I'm teetering to go B+ as well. I think I'm gonna go A-. There are things that we can definitely clean up defensively. This is a thing of I don't know if the game plan was to play us. It feels like the game plan was to play pretty soft coverage. Like it wasn't like people in the hip pocket of receivers the entire time, press man on the outside type of stuff. They were playing a lot of zone on the back end, and it seemed as if that was just kind of the plan, was just to keep everything in front of them, come up and gang tackle, which is fine. But
not to cut you off, Ike, hold that thought. But that is a big thing that Mason preaches.
Yeah,
is not letting not giving up the deep play. So he is willing to concede those short passes in efforts to stop the long pass. So, but go continue. Sorry.
Yeah, and so with that, I was hoping to see some ball hawking out there and some forced turnovers. Didn't see that type of stuff that I was hoping to see, and some of that was just because it wasn't like defensive line being disruptive. Quarterback makes a bad decision. That guy wasn't, when he didn't like what he saw, he wasn't throwing it. So
sure,
he wasn't putting it up for grabs. The second team quarterback was a little more willing to throw it into some tight windows. And that's where it became a little more disappointing for me. Like B said, like these were guys who I was like, okay, maybe this guy could be a starter. And I expected it was really close to getting one pick. It was barely over the outstretched hand. I can't remember who. I think Ro Torrance might have been underneath that route. I can't remember who it was right now, but very close to getting an interception on that throw. But outside of that, some pretty poor angles by the second team, a coverage bust on the back end that gave up a 4th down conversion. And so like if we're doing total grades,
Ro Torrance was out of position that long, that I think it was a 17-yarder on that 3rd and long. Yeah.
So it's just, little things like that have to get cleaned up because, we talked about this last night a little bit in the post game, even though it won't always be like a full second unit going against someone's first team. I do want to see guys come in and shine when they're coming in and clean up duty. So hopefully we can get that a little bit better. So I'll go A- because the first team played so well. But I'm hoping we can clean up a little bit of that. There was some sloppy tackling every now and then as well. But yeah, A-.
I will go A- as well. I was pleased with TD Moultrie. I was pleased with Derek Hall. I think those guys coming off the edge, Marcus Harris. I was pleased to see us generate a pass rush by the front 4. And that we could stay in a base defense and still bring pressure and still contain a mobile quarterback. Those are things that I thought were very important that we needed to see. And to the point I mentioned with Ike, I think as the game went on, they just didn't want to give up anything long. They were willing to concede those short passes, and they put in a quarterback who's a stronger passer than he is a runner. And he was able to take advantage of some of those open spots in those zones. There was some plays we were clearly in the cover 2. They were able to hit us in the corner route. The quarterback was able to make the throw. There was some missed tackles in open field. I was really shocked by that in some cases. I think the mobile QB was able to sidestep McCreary. I just want us to make those types of plays against Akron more, because we got better athletes in our conference who could take that a little bit further than what that QB from Akron did. But after all that being said, I'm going to give it an A- just because of how dominant. I mean, by the time these things begin to show up that we're nitpicking and talking about, for the most part, scores 53-0 by the time Akron was able to do anything. So for that, I'm not gonna knock him off an A. I'm gonna give him an A-, but great job by the defense. Let's talk about the offense, and we got some stats to talk about here. I'll start with you, Ike. What was your thoughts on, what's your grade for the offense as a whole?
Offense as a whole, I'll go A- again. I think we did really well. First team offense, again, execution, lining up where we were supposed to be, understanding assignments, only one drop pass the entire day from any person, and then another overthrow that happened when flushed outside the pocket. Bo ran when he was supposed to, stayed in the pocket when he was supposed to, checked down when he was supposed to, checked out of plays when he was supposed to. Again, set the record. I get it. It's Akron. Again, I'm not saying Bo Nix is a Heisman contender after game 1 against Akron. I'm saying his feet looked good. His arm looked good. His decision-making looked good.
Yes.
I'm talking about making multiple reads before you make the throw. That one's not open. Where's my next read? Where's my next read? Dump it down. That's something we have not seen this offense do. Forget Bo Nix. This offense do in years. So I loved being able to see that. Running backs running hard, running through tackles, running over people, sound in when they were asked to catch the ball, running backs doing their job, picking up blitzes when they came. Akron didn't blitz a lot, which is surprising, but we picked it up when they did blitz. Offensive line was sound in their run blocking. I think we only had maybe 2 negative plays from the run game the entire time. The first run by Shivers for sure. I think there was another one by Tank. Outside of that,
that was the first play out of the third quarter.
Yeah, I think every other play besides that was positive. Like, but where it knocks it down a little bit for me is the second team offense just didn't look as sharp. I mean, it's the same situation with the defense. Second team offense did not look as sharp. It was the balance was shifted way more towards the run, but the passes that were there, they didn't have the chemistry with TJ. TJ wasn't as accurate with his ball placement. It just wasn't there. So that's the only reason I'm dumping it down to A- overall, but you can't be mad at 60 points. Like 60 points where the defense did not contribute any points other than a safety.
Right.
60
offensive points.
So
58
offensive points.
But come on.
I will never be upset about that performance.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you play. You go hang up 58 on somebody and you weren't like scoring all of those points in garbage time. That's a good offensive performance. So again, I'll go A- on that as well.
B.
I'm going to echo that A- for all the same reasons. The first team looked great. I think we saw scheme. We saw the difference in play calling. We saw the difference in power, in precision. Demetrius Robertson really knowing where to be and being there. Like there was never a time where I was like, the way we looked with TJ Finley at quarterback and some of those receivers, I expected to see some of that for the first team as well, but I did not. I didn't see it. For all the reports coming out of camp and the scrimmages was Bo still look hesitant or shaky in certain situations. Maybe, again, when you stress test your offense in scrimmage, you give them hell. Game is vacation. Game day is vacation because your coaches are scheming to keep you out of the situations that they had you in scrimmage. Now you get a break. And it looked like they were on vacation out there. That was amazing to see. And I'm enthused by it. Now, the second team was concerning, not because we're concerned that we're going to lose Bo. Knock on wood, Bo's been healthy his whole Auburn career. I hope that continues, especially with him playing like this. But listen, man, some of those other receivers are going to have to get in. You need to have your second level prepared, and there was some chemistry that needed to be worked out. So hopefully they get it worked out. And it wasn't pressure that had TJ Finley looking shaky. It was, again, the misreads. Hey, where'd you? I'm going there, and so I hope that gets worked out. But that's why it's only A-, at worst. Again, you can't be mad about 58 offensive points. Love what I saw though.
Mike,
I'm gonna go A-. It's not that there's not anything to clean up. There's definitely some stuff on tape that they can work on. But first and foremost, you got to look first at offensive line and quarterback. So I know we had his stats up here, right? Like 20 for 22 for 275 and 3 TDs is not, the completion percentage is eye-popping, but the yards and touchdowns are not in today's college football. This is all we need. If Bo had done this, but maybe with 3 or 4 more incompletions, I'd still be satisfied.
Yeah.
I'd still be satisfied. You didn't need to go 90%. But if he completes 16 of 22 for 275 and 3 TDs, we're still here having a really, really good day. So, they're not. That's what I expect the stat lines to look like. This might be 15 for 22. And he still would have done a great job as long as he's complete, as long as in those 15 completions are the big throws down the field, right? The wide open throws, the checkdowns. If we're not in completing those passes, I think we're in pretty good shape and we keep the chains moving. For the running backs, can't say enough. There are no holes in this running back room. And if we have one guy go down, I think we got guys who can step up and we can still be very, very dynamic.
For sure.
We're deep. So, kudos to all these guys. I'm glad that, our top 4 running backs all got a chance to play.
Yeah.
Jarquez Hunter almost led the team in rushing yards coming in the third quarter. Shivers got a few carries. I think he had more receiving yards than he had actually rushing yards, or it was close. Sean Jackson had a couple of impressive carries, but getting these guys real game time experience is a big deal. So again, kudos to them. I would have liked to see a little bit more from the receivers. We're very limited. He seemed to like Shedrick a lot. We started to feed Robinson at some point. So that was just one of those things where I would have liked to see just a little bit more from the receivers. I'm happy with the tight end usage. They got some receivers on the field. Kobe Hudson, again, big catch there. There was a lot of competition in that wide receiver room. So a lot of us were shocked with who ended up winning starting jobs. I suspect that in the next couple of games, we're going to see more of some of the other receivers, Capers and Canyon and Johnson. These guys are all supremely talented. I expect to see them a little bit more, especially if the Alabama State game follows the same template as the Akron game and it's a blowout going into the halftime. We should see quite a bit from them. But going back offensively, why I'm giving this an A is it's simple. Right, our quarterback led this team, and I just want to point out some other stats that are not up here, but it's the difference between last year's offense and this year's offense, primarily based on scheme. Right, in this game, when not blitzed, Bo had the ball out of his hands in 2.45 seconds. That's a whole half second faster than last year on average. And a lot was made of the offensive line. Now when they blitzed him, he extended. He could do what he took it to about 3.3 seconds to throw. That's just Bo extending plays with his legs, though, right? And even when blitzed, I want you to hear how amazing this stat is because this is how good the scheme was. He had absolutely zero dropbacks under pressure yesterday. Not a single drop back under pressure yesterday, even on the 29% of the time that Akron blitzed him. He still didn't throw the ball under pressure. So that speaks well for the offensive line, too. They blitzed, but were unable to get pressure on Bo.
Yeah.
Offensive line did pretty good in pass protection. But on the 70% of the dropbacks that he had where he was not blitzed, he got the ball out of his hands quickly. I think it helped keep the defense really, really off balance. And there was no upside to coming after him. None.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do. So I've been trying to say it like your balance will keep the other team off balance. They did what I wanted to see in this game. I'm going to change my grade to A+ actually because of the balance that they had. The balance between run and pass was phenomenal. I hope that that's something that we can replicate going into bigger games this season. But if we can go on the road at Penn State and have that kind of balance, I like our chances. Not maybe as efficient as what they did here, right? But, again, at regular percentages, as long as he's making the big throws and taking advantage of the obvious opportunities, I like us in most of the games that we play this year. So, again, you'll go to other content creators, and I'll tell you, you're going to hear, look what Bo can do when he has time to throw. And I would kindly ask you to tell them, look what he did for this offensive line yesterday. He didn't put them in any bad positions. Got rid of the ball. He didn't hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now the real test will become, because Akron was bad, right? Like we know Akron was bad. The real test will come when a team that is able to generate a pass rush does break through that line, because it's going to happen. No quarterback in our league, even the ones who have won Heismans, have had clean pockets. More than 68% of the time. It just doesn't happen. Joe Burrow was running for his life. Jarrett Stidham, the only one that we've had that's been really good that wasn't running for his life was Mac Jones. Mac had a pretty good offensive line, but he still had the ball. He didn't make it an issue for his O-line because he never held on to the ball. He always got rid of it, and he didn't have Bo's elusiveness, so he didn't have a choice. He had to get rid of it. So being able to escape pressure and knowing how to get rid of the ball quickly puts you in like the 5% of quarterbacks in college football. If he can do that against better competition, that gives us a chance in every single game.
Indeed.
Can't stress that enough. A+ for him. I really just think I was completely floored and enamored by his performance yesterday and how the scheme played to his strengths and covered his weaknesses. Same with the old line. Played to their strengths, covered their weaknesses.
Yeah.
A+ for Mike Bobo too.
I'm gonna give the offense an A. Just again, it goes back to preparation. The balance you talk about: 32 runs, 27 throws, and be mindful. They just ran the whole time that last drive that they ended up scoring to get to 60. So it was actually much closer. It was actually much closer than what it was. So they achieved balance. I would like to see a little bit more work past Schenker with those guys. I think two tight ends accounted for some penalties. So I would like to see those guys. It seems like they're still trying to learn a lot of the scheme as they're using multiple tight ends. And a lot of these guys are getting burned that they haven't gotten before, and it's a new offense. So I'm looking for them to clean some of that up, but it's an A for me. I believe this is a question. He's giving them an A+. And also we had another chat by Auburn Dad. Of course, I couldn't see this. So did y'all watch Bo on the sidelines going over, talking with the O-line, wide receiver, TJ, and celebrated with Hunter too? It's just a different mentality out of him. I'm excited to see that. So guys, you guys have been dropping some of your grades in the comments. We appreciate that. Continue to give us your thoughts on how you felt about the offense in the comments. And we shall move on to the actual draw. How many entries do we have? Now, we got a lot of people watching.
79.
Are y'all serious?
Come on, 383 people? Y'all don't want a free shirt? It's a nice shirt, man.
Come on, bruh.
Got the Will Report on the sleeve.
It's a quality shirt. Hashtag get your weight up, right? Is it get your weight up today? Yeah. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Let's go, people. We need at least 150. 80. Wow.
Y'all don't want a shirt.
We go waiting. Yeah. Like, can we
y'all don't want a shirt. That's what I'm thinking.
Wow. We send these out, I promise.
Well, listen.
It's not a scam.
How would we be scamming? It's not like you have to give us any money to get it. So it's like, all right, we just want you to put hashtags in the chat for GP.
Well, they think they sent
There
us
they
there.
go. They're rolling in now. They're rolling in
there we
now.
go.
There we
We're
go.
over
There we
100
go.
now.
There we go. There we
And
go.
of course, guys, this is brought to you by, of course, GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Shout out to Walt for making this all possible. Thank you, my good friend.
All right, we're at 105. I'll give you guys 10 seconds.
Y'all really answered the call here in these last 20 seconds, though.
5, 4, 3.
Oh man, you counting fast and shit.
I'm just going to push the button so we can move on.
Who's it gonna be this week? Corey? War damn ATL.
Gotta see you in the comments, the War Damn ATL.
Let me check the winners list.
Show up because the haters are lurking.
Yep, nope, he's not on the winners list. So War Damn ATL, business at thewarreport.com. If you're here, holla at us. He going.
See what I'm saying?
At thewarreport.com. Otherwise, we got to redraw. So don't make us do it.
And this is
There he is. There he is. There he is.
This is for you, sir.
Yeah. So email us your address, and we'll get that right out to you. Congratulations, sir.
Awesome. All right.
So y'all ready? I think we have done a good job of discussing Akron. We gave our grades. We know we honored the player of the game. We talked about
his props.
We gave him love. We're not. See, listen. Let me tell you something about haters.
Mike has given Bo Nix his props because Bo Nix played so well. Nobody here has anything against any player. We want to see players play well, or we want to see them sit. We had players playing bad and still playing. We should all have an issue with that. But now we saw a player play well. He earns the spot. We were glad he's got the spot while he's playing like that.
Yeah.
See, a real hater would have something to say.
No matter
after a 20 to 22, that's a real hater. It'd be like, yeah, but about them 2 incompletions though.
Oh, I know, right?
So let's point that out. But it was Akron people,
right? Okay,
I think are the real haters in this situation.
I read that a lot yesterday. I read a lot of people telling me to calm down. It's only Akron, and I'm like, we can judge execution apart from the opponent that we played. Yeah, yes, they beat them badly, but they did it like a good team does.
Right.
See, people who say that don't remember when we played Jacksonville State. They don't remember the JSU game.
Do you remember Utah State?
Yeah, you don't remember those games like that. You must have like purged that from your memory.
Mm-hmm.
We have looked bad.
Oklahoma.
Oh my goodness, yeah, oof, man,
way too close.
Yeah, it was those wins that felt like a loss after. Caesar talks about it all the time. We went to the Georgia Dome in 2015 to watch our opening game against Louisville. And the Louisville fans left that game with more hope than we did because it was the beginning of them seeing who Lamar Jackson was.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We left the game. We were like, man, we thought Jeremy Johnson was supposed to be the dude. He looked like he was throwing with blindfolds on. Yeah. And so it was a win that felt like a loss. Yeah. We got sold though for years and years and years that was going to be, we're going to be okay. It's just the first game. You know,
Duke Williams is down there somewhere.
Right, man. Come on, dude. This was different. I don't care who we played. This was different. And Absolutely. I felt like it was so different. Again, preseason, I'll remind everybody our preseason predictions. I actually was so convinced at the end that I went up to be and went to 10-2.
You did.
All right. I've been on the 8-4 train. Yeah, I've been on the 8-4 train for a while. I went up to, I was like, I don't know, man. Like just a few little things go right in this opener and 10-2. Now look how LSU played. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just saying.
Let's not do that. Slow down. So we got a new segment that we're going to introduce as we talk about. Well, let's just get into it. Let's not even do that.
What did we see?
So
that was
what did we see?
Can you play that one more time?
For you be Will, of course.
What did we see?
the eyes send me. All right, the eyes send me every single time. Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'll talk about what I saw.
From around college
you
football.
you had the right vantage point to see a lot of good things.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
For Auburn, yeah. I didn't see
the good line, boss.
So in terms of college football, what I'm seeing is that LSU is in trouble, bruh. LSU is in big trouble. Big trouble. And the reason why I say that is not, you lost to UCLA. Sure. A lot of teams lose their first game of the season and bounce back, but it's how you lost. LSU rushed 25 times for 49 yards against UCLA. Stopped you cold. A Pac-10 defensive line dominated your SEC offensive line. Okay, well, let's talk about what you did against the run. They gave up 223 yards on the ground.
Disgusting.
UCLA listen, you can lose a game and still end up like somebody probably talking about them, but Clemson. I foresee Clemson going on to just dominate the rest of the ACC after losing to Georgia. But if I'm LSU, I'm a little worried because you're probably going to face better defensive lines and better offensive lines later in the year. And this is how you're looking. And Max Johnson, for the love that he's gotten, he's going to need some help. So when I say they're in trouble, you got to start with the trenches. They got owned yesterday, and it's not looking good. I said it last week. I had that as an L, but I was feeling better about it. Bruh, do I feel better about that game? So keep your eyes out on LSU, but as far as I'm concerned, I think they're in trouble, bruh.
Mike, I just want to ask you.
It's a Caesar segment. So be quiet.
For those of you who were here on Wednesday, let's start with this. For the insiders, we dropped Betting with B Will early on Thursday afternoon because we knew we had Tennessee coming up. Gave the picks for everybody in the conference, and I gave you some very compelling reasons why to take UCLA to cover. Even on Wednesday, I gave you some very compelling reasons why UCLA would win the game. And Mike, what were your exact words when I said that?
All right. I think I said something like it was the most wrong you were going to be all year, and you said you would be more wrong, and then I was just like, okay, as long as we agree, and then it was that. So, yep, I was wrong. I was wrong for all the reasons that Caesar noted. Holy hell, man! I'm like, I mean, you can't underscore now. You guys, the reasons that you guys said, I think stand out to me. I mean, I do still think this is primarily coaching. I don't think it's their talent.
I'll share this with you, Mike G. Because in my power rankings, I had LSU kind of high, so I gotta share some of this with you as well.
Yeah. Like I don't think it's the talent. I think that it's primarily coaching that has them this bad. Like it's not some talent gap between them and UCLA. They've recruited way too well, right? This is all coaching, right? They have coached this team down. Orgeron should absolutely be on the hot seat. You're 2 years removed from a national championship.
Coach Zane is a sniper. Coach O is Chiswick dipped in Cajun season.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, come on, bro. We can't do this. There's too
you
much
sniping,
talent
Coach.
There's too much talent down there on the bayou for them to be playing like this, embarrassing us out on the West Coast. Yeah. Thank God most of the East Coast people were asleep, so they had to see that massacre. But like, I just thought, man, wow, like he really is. He's good. When was the last? Who's the last coach to win? Was Chiswick the last one to win a national title and get fired 2 years later?
Yeah,
he was the only one.
I think he's the only one. Yeah, he's the only one. I think Coker was Coker 3 years before him.
I think he was Larry Coker.
Yeah, Larry Coker was like maybe he got fired 3 years later at Miami.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, that was I mean, yeah, you hate to see it because they're on our schedule. They completely hurt our strength of schedule with that
It don't matter.
foolishness.
We got plenty of other people to prop it up. We'll be good.
All right. So that's mine. That's mine. So who we got next? Who's going to jump in and give theirs? B, you got it right. You got the little ticker thing. Okay. Who's next? Who's next? Ike, you want to go? You want to jump in, Ike?
Sure. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but Penn State, man. Yeah, that defense was opportunistic when necessary, but they didn't really stop Wisconsin. Like, go back and watch this game because Penn State, they were disruptive in spots, but Wisconsin pretty much just was like, we don't want to win. We're going to get inside the red zone and not score points. Not because you guys did anything. I'm just going to hand the ball off to the running back's shoulder. And then I'm going to just drop the ball randomly in another spot. Then we're going to – the blocked field goal, I guess we can give that to them. But, I mean, it was a short field goal. Why were you kicking it that low? I just don't understand. You know, the interception that they threw was just like it was a boneheaded play. Like, Penn State did not look great. Offensively, they were getting handled by Wisconsin's defense. Now, Wisconsin has a good defense. But I am not scared of Penn State after game one. Their offensive execution wasn't great. They're out there running this air raid that I don't think that they fully grasped yet. Penn State was very uneven to me. So, you know, I'll wait to see how they look after game two. It was a tough game one playing at Wisconsin. They came out of there with the win. But it's just not the Penn State team that everybody told me it was by virtue of, you know, pandemic season and they didn't have all this stuff that people kept trying to tell me about why they looked bad to start the season last year. They look a lot like that same team again against Wisconsin. Just very uneven, a lot of mistakes. So we'll see. But Penn State not scared right now.
Yeah. Shout out Chase H, friend of the show. Wisconsin was channeling their inner Gus Malzahn when they hit the red zone.
Man. Their quarterback was just he won the job, right? And I'll tell you what, Penn State, their offensive numbers play right into our defense's hands. They had 50 yards rushing in that game. And I'm telling you,
defensive numbers play right into our offense's hands.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop the run. Watch them. I mean, Wisconsin turned the ball all over them.
Yeah, 174 yards on the ground for Wisconsin on 58 rushes. So they rushed the ball a lot. I just want to say, if this is the Penn State that's going to show up to Happy Valley in 2 weeks, we're definitely getting the dub. Because this defense, if you're going to be one-dimensional versus this year's defense, you have no chance. Yeah. You have no chance. They threw for 247 yards, but the balance between, I mean, they ran 36 plays in this game offensively. 18 rushes, 18 receptions. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They had 33 passes, right? And 18 carries. Right. So, I mean, there was not a ton of offense in this at all.
Which, again,
right?
Good defenses. I'm not saying the defensive performances weren't good and the caliber of talent was comparable. I'm just saying that Wisconsin quarterback shouldn't scare anybody, right? Like he is one-dimensional and he's not great at that dimension. Yeah,
but Clifford doesn't scare you either. Right, like
no, Clifford is not a scary quarterback either.
No, he didn't scare you either, right? I mean, the only thing that scares me right now is just our quarterback's history on the road. It still will be a tough place to go play. I think if we play down to them, then we have a chance to lose. Right, and hopefully those days are over. But our team fundamentally looks superior to them after week one. Right.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. We'll see if they can. I've heard you say it all the time. One of the biggest improvements you make is from week 1 to week 2. So granted, the competition gets lighter, but we'll see. We'll see if there are improvements as it pertains to Penn State. I believe it's on you. Who wants to go next? B, Mike?
Yeah, I'll jump out here. So what I saw was that we need to stop doing preseason rankings. They mean absolutely nothing. A lot of conjecture, a lot of what people think they're going to see, a lot of assuming that teams are going to get better just because they've got more senior players on the roster.
Mhm.
But what I find most often is a mediocre sophomore is going to be a mediocre senior. And the assumption that everybody's going to get better because they're 1 year older is false. It is nonsense. You can get better coaching. You can get better scheming. You can even get a better strength and conditioning program. I think will make a big difference. And of course, if you're older, then yeah, you can improve on where you were strength and conditioning last year. So yeah, in that sense, sure. But you are what you are. So the assumption, let's run down the list here. I got the scores pulled up on my phone. The University of Washington in Seattle in the Pac-12 lost to Montana, third in the country. What does that mean? Nothing. Obviously, you're not the 20th best team in the country unless Montana's the 19th. I don't know how that works. Iowa State, who a lot of people have as this dark horse in the Big 12, was given all they could handle by Northern Iowa. They beat them 16-10. Northern Iowa. That's a FCS school.
That's starting to be a pattern with Iowa State, because I think they lost they lost the first game last year to some opponent they had no business losing to. Because I think the Big 12 was still scheduling out of conference opponents.
Okay.
And they dropped a game and then went on to win the conference or something like that, or play in the conference championship. Yeah,
that's right. That's what it was. Yeah. Of course, we already talked about LSU ranked 16th. Why? They were bad last year. And maybe there is just a lot of hope. Hey, we know they've recruited this well, but hey, man, I was the first one to raise my hand and say, hey, all that magic from 2019, that was Joe Brady, Dave Aranda. Them coaches gone. I don't know what all this hype and hope is about, but I don't think they got it no more. And even though they won their game, Oklahoma, you're number 2, man. Why are you number 2? Tulane? Number 2, Lane gave you trouble on your home field. That wasn't really their field. That was your field.
A little more than trouble. Like,
man, like, come on.
They were very close to losing that game.
The game, yeah. They were one half yard on a dive on a fourth down away from possibly losing that.
Yeah. So that's what I saw. I saw that we need to stop the practice of preseason rankings. We probably don't need to rank anybody until at the earliest 4 games in. Really about 6 games in, once people have gotten through their cotton candy and into the meat of their schedule.
Yeah. Stephen Nash, real quick before we get to Mike's, exotic blitz pulling secondary is the only way Penn State gets pressure. Please tell me Bo is ready and coached up to make them pay and take some hits.
Yeah. And so I see people saying, I didn't say we were going to beat Penn State. Listen, it's going to be a tough game regardless. I said I'm not as scared of that game as I was before, because I saw what Penn State put out on the field, and I said to myself, oh, that's a beatable team. We could beat that team based upon how they played. I still need to see us take it on the road and do something. Yeah. But again, they were not great against the run, and their pass rush, like Steven just said, wasn't super impressive unless they had some sort of exotic blitz styled up. So they're going to have to blitz a lot, and if we can find a way to scheme around the blitzes, it's going to be a long day.
Facts.
It is what it is. Like, I don't make the rules of how football works. It just is what it is. If you can't stop the run, you can't stop the run.
So B Will thinks preseason rankings are worthless. He's not wrong. Mike G.
What I see is that
what's with
I tried to do it like B. I couldn't. It crackled out at the end. What I see is that Georgia is overrated. I'm not sure if we saw the number 5 team in the country. Now they will be after what we saw. I believe Oklahoma will drop. I think that Georgia will rise. And by the time we get to that game, we're going to be talking about potentially a top 10 matchup. By the time that we get to Georgia, if we beat Penn State handily and then take care of LSU on the road, Auburn could sneak somewhere in or around the top 10. And if we execute well, I have no doubt they will rise us up the ranks to pub that game as much as possible. Offensively, JT Daniels did not look like a tier 5 quarterback. Now, he didn't have a terrible game, essentially. Tier 1, yeah.
Tier 1.
Yeah. Quarterback, 22 for 30 for 135 yards is, 4.5 yards per throw is pretty regular. Nothing in their receiving core scared me. Only one guy had more than 2 catches essentially in that game. It was just weird. It was weird watching it. Like, okay, like again, these are supposed to be national championship contenders. You know, I don't remember hearing a bunch about Clemson's defense supposedly being this good. So correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. You know, like
I did, because they had a lot of injuries last year, so it wasn't like major. They didn't have the talent they had like 3 years ago at defensive line, but what they had was 1 or 2 starters go down, some of their young talent, and we know they recruit well, come in and have to play for 3 or 4 games, and the same thing in another couple positions. So a lot of guys got meaningful snaps. So what they expected this year was that all that young talent staying would give them time to be a really, really good unit.
Right. Right.
It seems like I don't know if Clemson's that good on defense or if Georgia's that mediocre on defense.
Yeah,
I think Clemson's got some challenges on their O-line, and Dabo kind of alluded to that leading up to this game.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like there was not an offensive touchdown scored in this game.
Yeah,
not one. So yeah, I don't care who you're playing. Not a single offensive touchdown was scored in this game. The difference, I think, was a pick 6. Was it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the difference in the game. That's all they could muster. So, you know, when I'm looking at this, I'm just thinking, I'm not, you know, we've said that we're not as scared of LSU anymore. Now, if we get through Penn State, like sitting here 5-1 after 6 weeks doesn't seem so crazy, does it?
No.
It doesn't really seem crazy. I thought 4-2 might be our best case scenario, but now that October gauntlet doesn't look so gauntlet-ish. Like
that was actually a good shot in an attempt.
Yeah, right. I like that. Right. And it really looked that way. It just kind of feels like, you know what? Now, if we can execute, we'll have a chance in these games. I'll feel good going into these games, and we get that game at home this year too. So number 5, and I'm not sure I saw the number 5 team in the country, because regardless of who you play in this era of college football, unless you're telling me that's the 85 Bears defense out there not scoring a single touchdown in a game, is curious to me. Smells more like execution, and I would question play calling. I watched some of it. I was just like, I don't know, man. I'm going to go back and watch that tape a little bit more, but they better watch out.
Go back and watch that.
Yeah.
Sam Howell is asking, will Georgia have its wide receiver core back by the time we play? So there are some guys who are out for this game. Pickens is out for the year.
Pickens gone, yeah.
He's out for the year. So they're not going to have their entire unit back, but I did hear there were some other guys injured, and they more than likely should be back by the Auburn game.
Yeah. Definitely think they're, I mean, again, I'm just not sure I was looking at the number 5 team in the country yesterday. Well, man, Clemson definitely wasn't the number 3 team in the country.
No.
And so, you know, let's get that clear here. That was this game. This game had been 21-28 or something like that. Great.
Right.
But I mean, nobody could muster a touchdown, really? Come on.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll get to see. It was definitely a defensive struggle. And I'm glad I didn't get a chance to watch that game as a result of that. So I think that's all we got, man. I think what do we got coming up, Mike?
Hey, listen, man. Tomorrow is our first inaugural Watch the Film segment.
Hey,
8 p.m. He's got this backwards here. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. You definitely want to get in here and get in this insider only. So some of our insider content we let everybody watch, but we only let insiders comment. This will be only insiders can watch. So you do not want to miss this. I want everybody to see my face when I say this. Please don't miss this segment. Go to YouTube and turn on all notifications so you can get the notification when we're going live, just in case life happens. It's Labor Day, so everybody should be off. And if you're barbecuing or you're at the pool with the family or whatever, we don't want you to miss this segment. So I would love to have 300 insiders with us on our first Watch the Film. It's going to be amazing. We're going to break this game down. So a lot of the things that we talk about in theory, this is your chance to revisualize that with us in slow-mo. so that we can break down concepts and explain to you guys why you come to the War Report for your Auburn football analysis. I'm just happy we're able to bring that to you guys. This show, guys, is brought to you by Ace Hardware. That's at 2101 East University Drive, Auburn, Alabama. Please go check them out. They are one of our biggest sponsors. If you got hardware needs, go into Ace, pick up your tools to the weekend, tools to the game, whatever tool you need, they got it in there. Ace, we appreciate you. Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folks and for the War Report. So watch the film tomorrow. We're excited to do it. Please join us. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. This is why you become an insider. Because can I brag for a second? Guys? Is it okay? Right. Like I like, yesterday, our game day, we got to spend with you guys. It was amazing. It was amazing having 400 friends get excited with us and join us at halftime, because the War Report started because we used to do that amongst each other. I'd call Caesar at halftime of every game and be like, man, we look like ass, right? And Brian would call Isaac and this is what we would do. And having you guys all join us for this, it was amazing yesterday. I had a really good time yesterday. The texts, the DMs, just communicating with you guys. Caesar getting to meet up with some of you in person at the game. It was just amazing. We gave away tickets. We've been giving away T-shirts. We've given back so much. We're giving to the Humane Society. This is one more thing we want to be able to give to you guys for the season for supporting us, and that is an extensive film review of the game. So when somebody says, that's not what happened, you can pull up your insider video and be like, these guys break it down right here. Ed Darby, if Ed Darby's in the house, man, Ed can't miss it. We need Ed on every Watch the Film segment. And it's going to be amazing. Yeah. So if you saw our Chop It Ups, where we broke down film with former players, this is similar, but we're going to cover a lot more of the game. So now we have current film to look at. That's going to be great. Insider only, become an insider so you can get in on that.
Well, guys, we appreciate you again. Listen, you have friends, family, co-workers, church members who are Auburn fans, who are looking for great content. Don't be selfish. Share this video with them. They're looking for some analysis of this game. They want to know who's talking about how good we looked yesterday. Be their source of information and share this on your social medias. Use hashtag Get Your Weight Up. Introduce them to the War Report so they can be as up to date on Auburn football as you are. Help them out. Therefore, you help us out and help grow our community. If you haven't already, guys, please smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. That helps us out as well. You can also find us on social media, Instagram and Twitter at The War Report. We are TW Report on TikTok. Guys, we a whole channel out here, so we got stuff almost every day. Be on the lookout all week long for some great content. We will see you guys. But until then, and as always,
War Eagle.
War Eagle.